Lequita Brooks here. I am your social impact speaker and strategist. Welcome to Social Impact Sundays at 6, where we have massive impact that leads to income. And today we have an amazing guest. Welcome, Lucritia. So tell us about,
I was just saying thank you.
yes, you are very, very welcome. And tell us about what you're doing. And just, I want to just kind of give this caveat. One of the really cool things about Lucretia is that as we were talking, and she was like, yeah, I have a private practice. And I'm like, oh, well, do you do therapy? Like, she's a licensed clinical social worker. So most of us are just going to assume, well, if you have a private practice, you do therapy. We'll come to find out, like, she really does not do therapy. She literally has a full private practice where her sole role is to work with other social workers that's going through the process of becoming licensed. So tell us about your expertise. Tell us about your business. So happy to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. So, again, my name is Lucritia Stewart, and I own Bold Black Social Worker, which is a consulting kind of agency that provides clinical supervision to social workers in the DMV area, as well as career consulting, case consulting for social workers outside of the area. So, I provide clinical supervision. I do resume writing as well as career consulting, amongst other things. So that is pretty much my practice with Bold Black Social Worker. I've been in business. This is year 3 for me. So I'm so excited. I've been growing, especially this year. I grew a lot with my practice. So yeah, that's pretty much what I do with my private practice. And then full time, I am a public health advisor for the federal government. I work for SAMHSA as a public health advisor. So I'm pretty busy, but I love what I do.
Yes, so we'll talk a little bit more about your business and then also your role as a public health advisor, because basically you're doing two things that are completely non-traditional social work roles. So what inspired you to start the Bold Social Work? Like, I love the name, I love the boldness. But what was it that said, you know what, this is me, this is it, this is my brand, this is the business I desire to build?
So when obtaining my clinical license, it was a struggle for me. It was so hard. I had several jobs tell me, oh, well, we provide clinical supervision, and they don't. I've had plenty of people who just are overpriced and did not provide adequate supervision to me. So it was a struggle for me to get my license, it felt like. I went from like 3 and 4 supervisors throughout my 2 years, and it was just really hard. So I said that once I'm able to provide supervision to other people, I want to make it an easy, seamless process. So that is what motivated me to create Bold Black Social Worker, because my struggles with clinical supervision was like horrific. It was hard. And I'm just glad that I was able to get my license within the 2 years. But those 2 years were so hard for me because so many people said that they offered supervision and they didn't, or it was so expensive. Like, I paid a lot of money. So I just wanted to just maintain, I wanted to just have some continuity with people as a clinical supervision social worker. So that is the reason why I created Bold Black Social Worker.
Yeah, and I'm so sorry you had that type of experience. Like, I don't even want to imagine what that was like. Because clearly, you went to school, got your master's in social work, and you was like, I desire to get licensed, but to have to go through some hurdles. But the amazing thing about this is, as most social workers do, we see a problem or there's something that we went through that we were like, no, it shouldn't be this way. And you made that decision to have impact for the next generation of social workers who also desire to get licensed, but you don't want them to go through what you went through.
Absolutely. So I try to make our process seamless, easy, and very affordable. So that is my goal, is to be affordable and have continuity with my supervisees.
Yeah, that's amazing. And far as with public health, like, so because these are like, to me, at least in my brain, these are like two completely different worlds.
Yes, they are. They're
So
similar,
tell
but they're
me.
different. So I got into public health after being a medical social worker for 8 years. I worked in various inpatient hospitals, outpatient clinics, psych hospitals, and I learned that being a medical social worker, you're really kind of capped within your position. So either you're a worker or you're a supervisor, and that's it. There's no middle. There's just either you do one thing or you do the other. And I just thought that I kind of reached a plateau within my career. Like I could do medical social work with my eyes closed. And it was so easy for me. And I just felt like I wasn't learning anything new. So I said, well, let me try to tap into something that's seemingly similar to medical social work, but different. So I've applied to a few positions. And throughout my interview process, I had to essentially show my employer that me being a medical social worker will definitely benefit me as being a public health advisor. So, as a public health advisor, I manage grants that are given by the federal government to different small organizations, grassroots organizations throughout the country. And so I manage about 30 cases or 30 grantees throughout Michigan and Ohio. And so with those grantees, I basically try to guide them to maintain the programmatic requirements of the grant. So sometimes like they'll have issues with up and running programs or keeping employees or things of that nature. So that is where I come in as a public health advisor to assist them with that and making sure that they can uphold the grant that the government has given them. Because if they don't uphold the grant, we can relinquish it and take all the money back. So my goal is to prevent that. So that is what I do as a public health advisor. It's a little bit different from, it's more of a macro side now, more macro now, but it's very similar to basically medical social work. So I had to kind of prove that to my employers through my interview process, and I got the job. And so I've been doing this since October 2021.
Congrats. And as you were talking, I was like, oh my goodness, you made that transition from micro social work to macro social work. And I've gotten so many messages from other social workers who are like, I want to get into macro. So what advice would you give? I know one of the things you said during your interview, you basically, I guess you sold yourself in a sense, or I guess tapped into your strengths and how you can leverage those things, those transferable skills to be a benefit to the employer. But what are some other tips or strategies that you would, recommend to someone who wants to make that transition? Because so many social workers do, they just don't know.
Micro, you get burnt out of individual practice. So I definitely understand. And that was my situation. I kind of got burnt out and just felt like I just needed something different within my career. So one thing I do with my practice is I do interview prep. So when you book a career consultation with me, you are able to do interview prep. And so in that interview, where I kind of give you strategies on how to show that your skills are transferable. So that is what I had to do within my interview. So I was a medical social worker and I was an inpatient social worker within Walter Reed Medical Center in Maryland. So I was a social worker with them, and then I transitioned to being a public health advisor. So what I had to say was, I maintain a caseload of 40 patients every day. I can maintain a caseload of being a grants management, I can maintain that same caseload. I am a clinical social worker. And so I know the actual work that gets put into these programs that they're providing. So I can give that different insight than someone who just knows the program, knows the words to it, knows the requirements, but actually I'm the one that has been able to put that work in. So I had to, strategize and say, hey, this is what I do on an everyday basis. I can be able to provide that insight from a different perspective. So that is what I was able to do. And they were like, oh, okay, I like that. So that was pretty much it. And it's been
Yeah, you
really
make it sound
popular.
so easy. You're like, too much. It's just so simple.
I mean, it is. Sometimes it's like, I think that because it seems so difficult, it makes you want to make it difficult, more difficult than what it is. So just making sure that you can be able to verbalize what you're doing and how that can transition into something else. It's a cakewalk after that. Once you learn how to do that, it's a cakewalk.
So yes, and one having confidence
Mm-hmm.
and also being able to articulate it.
Definitely. That's it.
Yeah, so okay, went from medical social work, now doing public health. Also, have a private practice where you solely do clinical supervision. And from my understanding, now you're transitioning or at least adding something else to your business as far as speaking. So tell us more about that.
So, one of my goals for 2024 is to have more speaking engagements. I had a few speaking engagements in 2023, and I enjoyed it. I loved it. So that's something that I want to kind of transition into in 2024. Just making sure that I can verbalize the things that I'm doing in my career and kind of show other people that you can do the same things. So that is one of my goals for 2024 is to have more speaking engagements, reach out and speak to more people, and spread my brand.
Yeah, and I just love, Lucretia, how it's like at each segment you were like, okay, I have my master in social work, I'm doing medical social work now. This is nice, but I desire more.
Mm-hmm.
And then from that, you're like, okay, I'm going to pursue licensure. This is aggravating and stressful, but I desire more. So I'm going to go ahead and get this license. Got the license, you know, at some point you transition to another position doing but public health because you're like, hey, this is nice. I desire more. And then even when it came to the business, okay, now let me give back. So then another, aspiring clinician or someone who decides to get their license, they don't have those same challenges, as you. And you're like, you know what, I desire more. So let me give back. So I love just the mindset that you have. And also the ability to say, this is nice. I'm grateful and I desire more. And then to go after that more.
Yes. I always try to never stay stagnant. I always try to strive for more, strive for better, because it's always going to be something better than what you're already doing. So I just try to always, every year, set a goal for myself to do things differently or do things better or try to achieve more. So that is something that I just want to continue to kind of do within my career until it's time to retire, then I can relax.
Yes. And what would be a piece of advice that you would share?
So a piece of advice I would share to people that I always say to everybody that I come across is that having an MSW is one of the most powerful degrees you can have. I think that you are able to transfer your skills from clinical to macro to CEO very quickly, very easily, as long as you put the work in. So I just think that don't try to sell yourself short that you can only do but so much with the MSW, because the head of my agency has a master's in social work. So just imagine you being a head government official and you have a master's degree in social work. So just think, like, the possibilities are endless. You can do anything with it. So when you get your MSW, don't sell yourself short. You can do anything with your degree, especially with my help.
Exactly. And with that, how do they reach you so they can get your help?
So I am on Instagram as well as Facebook. My Instagram and Facebook name is Bold Black Social Worker. And you can also reach out to me via my website, bbsocialworker.com. And I'm always available through email or through text message. And yeah, so I'm pretty much really accessible if you want to reach out to me and touch base with me and have, conversations or career consulting or anything like that. So those are the three kind of main ways to kind of get in touch with me, through my website and through my Instagram and Facebook.
Lovely. Well, I just truly appreciate you, Lucretia, for joining us today here on this social work movement edition of Social Impact Sundays at 6. I am Lequita Brooks, your social impact speaker and strategist. Go to booklaquita.com for speaking engagements. Have an amazing day.
Thank you. Bye.